Happy Friday! All right, so I took a poll and I wanted to see what you guys wanted to see for the live video on Friday. I will either be showing pizza or I will be showing a bread. And the reason I want to be doing that is because I want to encourage you and new followers if they've never made bread before and if they've never tried our pizza before. It's mostly for the new ones that have never tried or for ones that are still struggling and you're wanting some extra help. So I definitely want you to ask whatever questions you have. That's what I'm here for. So on the poll, it was actually a pretty close tie, I think. It was on the French baguettes and the artisan bread. So if the ones that wanted to talk about the artisan bread, if you want to talk about it and ask me your questions now too, I think if we could talk fast, I could actually demo both of them. But the baguettes, the French baguettes, if you've never heard about them or if you've heard me talk about them many times, it's the best bread. Hey guys, hey. It's the absolute easiest, most delicious bread you will ever make in your entire life. And I will put that against anything. I have had a marathon morning over here. I'm a mom of 4 young kids, and it has been a marathon this morning. And so if I can do it, if I can make up some bread, if I can whip up some bread this morning like I just did, then you definitely can. You definitely can, because I've had a marathon. If I could tell you, if you wanted to hear my morning, you would be like, how did you just whip up this bread? From start to finish, this only takes about 30 minutes. And I really think I want it to be in the back of the camera, so I guess I'm just gonna put it back here. I feel like my mom became famous off this baguette bread, because there are lots of different baguette recipes out there, but this is the fastest, easiest one you will ever do. So it's super delicious and good. Okay, so before I start again though, I'm gonna read 2 comments that have come in from our followers, and that's just gonna be my new thing, because I think they're inspiring, and I think it's good to hear somebody else's testimony besides me and my mom. So I'm going to share that really fast, okay? So this was on one of the lives, and I was talking about, I keep talking about my new message, which is not really a new message, but it's a message that I'm gonna be talking about more and more that I've told you about. So this is what she said, okay. I'm watching this live later and seeing you cry, and now I'm crying. I know why you were inspired. It's because we need this. I need this. I need to find joy in eating and serving food. Life revolves around food, and we need to make the most of it. You and your mom have changed me from someone who felt scared and intimidated in the kitchen to now I don't even hesitate to invite people over for dinner. Wow, that is huge for me. Love you ladies for the transformation you have inspired in me. My husband is so happy for me too, because he knows that I have found a new joy in life, so thank you. Okay, that was the first one. We love you. That was so touching. Okay, and then this is the last one. Oh, this is the last one that I'm going to read. Can I just tell you, you answered my prayer talking about this. I mean, seriously. I bought your mom's cookbook in 2008 after I experienced postpartum depression and weight gain from having a husband in the military and the trenches of raising kids. I never wanted to cook, and I love feeding people. Now, 10 years later, I lost my way again until you started filming on Instagram. Found my recipes again. I am so grateful for your passion and your mom's passion for dinner and not making food evil, but enjoyed and shared with those you love. You answered my prayer today. Thank you so much. So, you guys, these are real followers that are writing these in. I don't even know one of these that have written us, and I just think they're so inspiring and touching. And I had a follower actually write us yesterday, and I'm never going to share your name unless you really want me to. But the follower yesterday said that she was terrified to really follow our exact meal plan because she doesn't believe that it's going to work for her. She feels like we've got genetics into play and all things like that. And so I just want to tell you something, and then we're going to start showing the baguettes. I promise that it is not genetic. I mean, there are a little bit genetics that come into play. My mom is thinner than I will ever be. She has smaller legs than I can ever have. It doesn't matter what I did or what I do. We have different genetics. That is true. But we are telling you the truth when we really do eat what we eat, and it's all just having this amazing variety, and it's just having portion control. We try to limit ourselves to having bread 2 times a day. That is a rule that my mom raised with me, and I stick to it. If I have bread in the morning, then I'm not gonna have bread for lunch. If I had bread for lunch, then I'm probably gonna have it for dinner. It's limiting because it's not good to have too much bread in your diet. That's so much carb and all of that. So I really do try to stick to at least 2 times a day of having some bread. So that's a tip that I wanted to tell you before we get into bread. So ask any of your questions about the baguettes. This is what they look like. We did a bread class. We showed how easy from start to finish. It's 30 minutes. So we're going to just take over. I really hope I'm not talking too much, that you guys can answer get some questions out there. So I'm going to get a half a cup of warm water. And before I start on this too, I'm going to tell you about the 5 tips that are the biggest mistake in your bread making. Number 1, it can be your yeast. Your water temperature is super important. I've said that many, many times. If your water is too hot, you're going to kill the yeast. And if it's too cold, it just takes a lot longer. Warm is just the best way to do it. So water is super important. Over mixing is important. Adding too much flour is super important because you don't want to over add too much water. And I'm trying to think of the other tip. Okay, so let me get about a half a cup of water, and then I'm gonna explain to you what I'm gonna do over here with I have a little lamp in my kitchen because I think it's just kind of a dark corner and I love it on, but it's kind of weird with this. So let me get a half a cup of water, okay? So while I'm getting how I get my water is I actually turn on the faucet and I let it just go for a minute. And when I test it, I just put it under my wrist. And the more you make bread and the more you understand, because you'll see your yeast will rise with that temperature, you'll know how to get the perfect temperature on your wrist. If you want to be critical, you can get a thermometer, but I just learned on my wrist. So, now we're getting questions. So 1 second. 1 second. So I'm getting a half. So I'm getting a half a cup of warm water that I just run through my wrist, and then I can tell the perfect temperature. Our favorite yeast, and I've had some of you that have switched to it and they say that it is changing your bread. So definitely give it a try. It's called Red Star yeast. I want to say All Star. Red Star yeast, you get this at Costco. I know you can get it online, but Costco is the best price for it. It's about $4. I put it in 2 Ziploc gallon baggies, and then this will stay in the fridge for a long time, like 2 years. It will stay good in the freezer. And then I have some in the fridge as well, but it will last longer in the freezer. So you're adding 1.5 tablespoons of yeast, and then you're adding 1 tablespoon of sugar. And this is another very important part. You do not want to just go and over mix like crazy. It's more of a gentle fold because it's not that kills the yeast. When you're over mixing and making it crazy, it can kill it. So it's kind of just like a gentle fold to get the water over the yeast. Now you can let this sit and rise like this, but the way that my mom taught me, and I think the best, is you've got to just put a little plate, a lid, something to trap the heat, and I'll show you how fast that's going to rise in about a couple of minutes. And okay, so when I went back to the 5 things that are important in bread making, it's also your kitchen is a huge, huge, huge part. If your kitchen is not warm, it just is not going to rise well, and it's a flop. It's not good. So either if your kitchen, if it's now summertime and the AC is going and you feel like your kitchen is a little bit colder, but you don't want to turn up the heat, open your windows. Let the heat come out from the outside. You got to make sure that your kitchen is super good. It's got to be at least 72 degrees in your house. Okay, let me go to your questions really fast. This is why we do this. What bread are you making today? This is actually the French baguettes. And I know that some of you have seen me already make it, and I'm so sorry. But I'm going to be showing this all the time. And I did a poll, and the new people, our new followers, wanted to watch me see it. Okay, how critical is the baguette pan? Trying to decide if I should invest. I think it's critical. It doesn't change the flavor or anything like that. But if you want it to look totally pretty and legit like a real baguette, it's critical. And I actually found one on Amazon, and you can get that, you can get it for $13. So you can go as expensive or inexpensive as you want. There are two different ones. There's a perforated and there's a non, and I use both. I do have to say I sometimes gravitate to the non, but I use both and they're both great. So they're both going to give you that look. And I just think it's super important. You can do it on a cookie sheet. You don't have to have it, but I think it's pretty important. Okay, it is not a weight loss plan, right? It's more portions, eating at home where you know what's in your meal and variety of good food. Exactly. This is not a food plan. This is not a weight loss plan. But honestly, it kind of is in a lot of ways when some people don't know how to eat and don't know portion size, and a lot of them are just afraid of food, and they've been on diet food for so many years that they feel like they can't enjoy like real food that has heavy cream and butter and all this amazing goodness. So that scares them off. So we never say that it's a weight loss plan, but we really do have people losing weight, because when you learn how to eat right and it becomes a lifestyle, like we say, you'll understand. You'll never be afraid of food again. The ones that are afraid of food are going to realize, okay, I can eat this if I just have a little portion. Okay, if I'm craving a brownie, I can have a brownie. So that's where you start losing. And honestly, when you're cooking more at home, that's where you can lose the weight as well, because you don't understand the amount of butter and calories that's going into your food when you aren't cooking at home. So when you are cooking at home, you do know, and you get a little more of an understanding. But we could talk about this, and we're never going to stop talking about it, but I could talk about this for the full hour, and I haven't even showed the bread yet. So yes, you're right. Gigi only has the baguette pan with the holes in it. Did you get yours without the holes on Amazon? You know what? Mine is super old, and I know that Gigi used to have the one that was not perforated, so maybe look again. I could not find one on Amazon without the holes, so I don't know if it's harder to find now. The kitchen outlet store, I know that they sell them without holes at times. The kitchen outlet store, so whatever outlet mall you live by, there's a kitchen outlet there. My baguettes have been deflating. They rise up, and then if I accidentally knock the pan, they deflate. And then I cook them and they are flat. What can I be doing wrong? You could be letting them over rise. That is a super important thing. You don't want to let your bread ever rise too long, because then that can cause it. You know your bread is ready to rise, ready to go in the oven when you actually press it and make an indent in it, and it doesn't come back out at you, like the imprint of your finger stays. That's how you know that you should be putting your bread in the oven. So I think you're letting it over rise, which is an important thing too. It's not like, oh, the more I let it rise, the better it's gonna be. It's actually, you can make a mistake doing that. So try doing less time, because mine don't really deflate. They don't deflate to flat. So do that. Make sure you're doing that, and make sure your kitchen is warm. Hi from Miami, Florida. Hello. The pans are they're very affordable, $13. Okay, did we have another question? Yes, I did add sugar. I added 1 teaspoon of sugar. Yes. Portion control. Why has Weight Watchers been around for so long? Real food, portion control. Oprah now, I lost eating, yeah, oh yeah, she totes, I lost eating bread. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So that's what we're trying to say. That's all that we're trying to learn. It's enjoying food and just learning how to eat it right. That's it, because our food is super delicious, and don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of the butter in that. Okay. Do you put egg wash on your bread to get it nice and brown? No. On the baguettes, you do not. If you want to get the bread crispy brown, this is another key. When you are cooking your bread in the oven, it needs to be on the very bottom rack. Not the top, not the middle, the very bottom. That's how you actually get your bread crispy and good. On our Italian bread, we do the egg white, but not on the baguettes. So, no. Okay, so we've got our kamut flour. So let me try to turn. The lighting gets really bad. Let me try it from here, okay? Let me try it from here. And I'll just back this up, and I'll show you right here. Is this a good view? A good angle? Okay, look at our yeast. Do you see this? That's the key. All right, so now we're going to add 1 more teaspoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt. This can be the finishing salt, or you can do the gray salt, either one. So then we're going to add our yeast, just like this. Okay. Now the recipe calls for 2 3/4 to 3 1/4. So we're going to always go light on the flour, remember? And the clouds are kind of covering over. Make sure you don't always have a heaping amount of flour, because that's a good key too. Okay, because I'm in Phoenix, I wouldn't open my windows. I let mine rise happen in the microwave, turn off, of course, it kind of traps the heat. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. So just make sure your kitchen is at least 72 degrees. I'm just saying, if you've got it super duper cold with the AC. Okay, so we've added 2 cups, and it says 3/4 cup. So I'm just gonna go really light on it, okay? Now I need to get 1 more cup of warm water. 1 more cup of warm water. So you would get it the same temperature as we did the yeast, okay? So now we're just going to mix. I get the question a lot if you can do this in a bread mixer or a KitchenAid. This water didn't get turned off. Yes, of course you can. Of course you can, but I think it's easier by hand because you get a feel for it, and this is not a ton of dough. So when you're making it in a KitchenAid and things like that, you would have to at least probably double the baguette recipe, and then I feel like you could do it in a KitchenAid. Okay, so do you see that I'm mixing and it's still sticking to the bowl? Can you see this? It's hard showing it myself. So this is not coming together and it's still sticking to the bowl. So we're going to add a little more. Not a full cup, just put a little bit. Okay? So now we're gonna mix again. And I can already tell that this is coming together. And this is the biggest key, you guys, with bread. You can't add too much. Okay, so it started coming away from the bowl, and I started kneading it a little bit in the bowl. So this, at this point, is going to be a little bit sticky, a little bit still, because now you're going to knead it. So this is gonna get a little more flour in it. Yes? Okay, come here. My child would like some dough. He can hear me. He loves to play with dough. Okay, so now we're going to knead. And I've showed you before, you take a corner and you push and turn. And once you become really fast at it, it becomes second nature to you. So that's why you want to take the bread out when it starts coming away from the bowl, because you're going to be adding more flour, like I said, when you're kneading it, okay? So we're just gonna knead it for a couple of minutes. Let me see. Did I miss some more? Oh, good morning. Okay, out of curiosity, how much do you spend on groceries a week? You know what? I have been averaging about 120 with, that is for my meal plan. That's mostly for my meal plan, sometimes less. When you're buying other things, like if I'm just buying for my groceries, like I'm saying for my 2-week meal plan, it's probably, it's about 120. But like I said, when you're adding snacks for kids, when I have to go back for milk, when I'm getting more produce and things like that, yes, then I spend more. Sometimes I have to go to Costco, but sometimes I'm getting like toilet paper and paper towels and things like that, so that doesn't really count for that. But it's most of the time been around 120. And the reason it can be that cheap, I can show you guys. I'll be buying we have a new 2-week meal plan that's going to be posted today. It's already posted, so after this I'll do a story and a link to go up to the website. I'm sorry. And I will buy my groceries tomorrow, so I could do like a little story on it and show you exactly. So I could show you. But yes, sometimes you have to add more. Okay, 120 for the whole 2 weeks or 120 each week. I've been doing that for the 2 weeks. But like I said, I've had to add. When you're cooking a lot and when you get your kitchen stocked up with the ingredients, okay, see how we've kneaded it for a minute? You know how once you start cooking and you've got everything in your house, I'm not exaggerating. That's the beauty of our recipes, is that you're never going to go to a recipe most of the time and you're not going to not know what that ingredient is, and you're not going to already have it in your house. So you can go through and make it pretty dang cheap. But I'm not saying that's exactly what I spend. I mean, I do have to buy more, but okay, I'll do a story on it. I'll do a story on it tomorrow. I will take you with me to the grocery store, and I will show you my 2-week meal plan, and I'll show you how much it is, okay? And I'll do it with not anything else extra. I'll show you. Okay, so now we're going to divide it into 2. Like when I have to buy cereal and things like that, I'm talking about just the recipes. I will either spend around 120 lately or less. So, okay. So now you've divided the dough, and you're going to just make it like a long hot dog bun. And you're pushing out from the middle out. Middle out. Sorry. Middle out. So now we've got, you're right under the camera. Okay, so I actually did the perforated one today. It's okay. And I'll show you on this one. So you just spray it with Pam. We love this spray from Costco. So you can either use either one of them. So now we're going to go like this. And then we'll take, does anybody have questions on this? What's your monthly food budget? Pat, my monthly? I don't know. For everything, probably like 600. Probably like for everything, like my kids' food, everything. I don't know. I'm trying to think about. Honestly, I've been bad lately at keeping exact track on that. Probably like 500 to 600, but that's like on everything. That's probably about that. There's some weeks that I'm like, whoa, I'm low on everything that it calls for. And then there's other times where I only will spend 90 for the 2 weeks. Like I said, once you get cooking and you already have stuff in the house, it's different. So I will do my 2-week meal plan, and we'll see how much I really spend on it. That will be a fun Instagram story. Okay, so I've got my 2 baguettes, and then you're just going to cut down the middle like this. And now I'm going to cover with a dish towel. Where did my dish towel go? Now we're just going to cover with the dish towel, and then you're just going to let it rise for about 15-20 minutes like this. Put it near your oven, put it near everything. Okay, so let me bring this back over. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this today. What did I miss? Okay, I will do an Instagram story. How big is your family? I have 4 little kids, so they're not eating crazy. I mean, I've got a baby that's not even really eating yet. I mean, he's starting to eat more. But we've got a family. You've got 4 kids and me and my husband. So there's 6. A family of 6 of us. A family of 6 of us. Okay. I can never get a good split in the top. Tips? Really? Is your knife then dull? Because that goes super easy. Just really get in there. Just really get in there. Your dough could be a little too doughy. Sometimes if your dough is a little too doughy, that can be a problem, but that shouldn't be too big of a problem. Make sure you have a sharp enough knife, because that seems a little weird. What was that? A secreted? This is just a Cutco. I don't have the fancy knives that my mom uses. Do you need to add the whole extra cup of water to the dough or no? Yes, you have to. You have to. That's a part of the recipe. So yes, add the full cup of water. Have to. That's a part of the recipe. It's just the flour that you have to be careful on. Do you put a pan of water in the bottom of the oven and then the bread on the bottom rack? Okay, sometimes I do. Most of the time, I have to be honest, I'm not doing the pan anymore. I think my bread comes out crispy enough. If you don't brush the butter on top of these, because I've had a lot of you say you want a crusty with a soft in the middle, our artisan bread is exactly that, especially for sandwich bread. But I love this for sandwich bread too. And I put water on this. So it will be a nice crusty bread if you actually don't do that. If you don't have to put the water to get it crispy. So most of the time, no, I don't put the water in it anymore. So all of the breads just need to be baked on the bottom rack. And that's it browns perfectly. That's exactly how it is in France. It's lightly golden on the top and their bottoms are more done like this. That's exactly how you'll get a baguette in France. Okay, so I wanted to show you this. Let me just get a plate really fast. So I'm going to have a little friend lunch again, and I'm just going to cut my bread. I'll turn it like this. I'm just going to cut me a piece. This would probably be about my portion size, and I'm going to make a turkey sandwich on it. There's nothing better. So I'm just going to cut it open. I've got turkey and cheese. Let me show you this. So I've got just helping you out. Where do I get a pan like that? Okay, so you can, I have a link to an Amazon, but you can actually get it lots of different places. A kitchen outlet store, Sur La Table has baguette pans, Orson Gigi has baguette pans, but I have one that I have found on Amazon that's pretty inexpensive, so I will give you the link to it, okay? So I'm gonna put some turkey. This is so good, you guys. I love sandwiches on this bread. Now, what you can do with this, the reason this is so great is if you just want a bread to be serving for that night, you can whip this up in less than 30 minutes. But we love it as French toast. We love it as sandwich bread. It has no preservatives in it. So this is eaten the best, it's best the day of. That's why like the next day, if you have leftover, it's good to use it for like French toast. I was like, what was I trying to say? Because in France, they will only keep these on the shelf for about 3 hours and then they chuck them. If nobody's bought them, because there's no preservative in them. There's no egg and there's no... Okay, just a minute. Okay, so now I'm gonna add a little bit of cheese and then I'm gonna put some tomatoes And this is our absolute favorite balsamic ever. And it makes the sandwiches so delicious. So I just love that I'm making yummy sandwiches for today. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of tomato. Add whatever you want. I'm gonna add a little bit of avocado. Sorry if you've already answered this, but some pans have holes, other do not. What is the best? Both are okay. The one with holes is called perforated, and the one without holes is called non-perforated. I like both. I have both of them. I have both. I feel like for some reason, I just have to be honest, I gravitate to the one without the holes, but I do like both and I use both. So I found one on Amazon that we have tried and it's decent. It's decent for $15 and it almost looks identical to this. It's just more silver. So it's good. I made these first ones in that. So then I'm just gonna add a little bit of spinach, and I could add some mayonnaise if I want. I might add a little bit. You can add a little bit of mayo and mustard if you want. And then this balsamic is the dreamiest balsamic you've ever had. I'm not kidding, in your entire life. And I actually, I found it on Amazon, and I'm hoping it's the exact same one. But you can get it at Whole Foods. And crushed ground black pepper. And I could add a little bit of mayo, and I probably filled it too much. This is delicious. So this bread is just very versatile, and you can use it for a million different things, and it's the easiest, most delicious bread you'll ever, I don't even know if I can get my mouth over that, you'll ever eat. Okay. Maybe I missed this, but do you put butter on it before the middle or on before baking? If you put the butter, you're supposed to put it on after. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. If you want your bread to become a little bit softer, because the butter is going to make it softer, if you want it more of a really crusty with it on the soft inside, so then you would not put the butter, okay? And then I'll show you in a second what the baguettes look like before you put it in. It's this balsamic. It's called Napa Valley Balsamic Cherry Wood Aged. It is the best thing you will ever put in your mouth. It's the best balsamic. We use it for pizza. If I want to do the arugula pizza, sometimes we put this on top of it. It's amazing with sandwiches. It's amazing for salads. It's the best. It's the best. So it's Napa Valley Naturals Cherry Wood Aged. It's so dreamy. And it makes every single thing. So I will try to take a bite of this. It's just so, It's yummy. And this is a very easy, quick meal to make for your friends. So they're coming over. I said, I'm making all this bread. Come over. Are there any other questions? I know some of you wanted me to show the brown bread. My heavens, how big of a bite did I take? We will show that. We're going to show all of our breads, but I wanted everybody to feel comfortable with the baguettes because it really is that easy and that delicious. So, what other questions? The recipe says if you want a crispy crust to put butter on halfway through. I made it and it was soft. You said something about water on top. Okay, well, you know what? I have it so memorized. For a softer crust, brush with butter when, okay, look, it says for a softer crust, brush with butter when they have finished baking. I'm like, that's what I've always done. So where does it say to do it halfway through? Put butter halfway through. I really don't think it says that. What she was talking about is the recipe tells you to put a shallow pan of water because that can make it crispier. But I don't always have to do it. I don't think you have to do it. I still think the bread turns out crispy. I can't see. I've never noticed if it really tells you that. It's after you bake it, you brush it with butter. Like I said, that's what makes it soft. So if you don't want it to be a soft crust, then you don't put the butter. Is it in book 2 that says that? If my mom wrote that, I'm very confused because I've never done that. So I don't know. Let me look in here. But maybe you misunderstood it wrong because we don't ever brush the bread in between. I've never heard of that. Never. It's after it bakes. No, it says, so in book number 2, it says the same thing. Place the baguettes on the middle rack with a pan of water on the lowest rack to create the steam. So when you do put the water, don't put it on the very bottom rack, I guess. But I've done both. And then it says brush with butter after for a softer crust. So that's what it is. So I'm confused by that. I don't know. I've never seen that in the recipe. And I've never done that. We don't brush the butter on during or before. Maybe you're thinking of the Italian bread, but we don't even do that in that. I don't know. That's not what we do. So if you want it softer, you brush it after. Are there any other questions? I just use a water bottle and spray the oven periodically. Yes, and I was actually going to say that. That's what a lot of professional chefs do as well. They'll just spray the oven, but you don't even have to do it. I used to do it all the time, and I used to have water in there all the time, and I feel like my bread comes out just as crispy. And the reason I love them, the bread, all of your bread gets done on the lowest rack because it's the bottom mostly that people will undercook. And it's the real authentic French way when you've got the golden brown on top and the more brown on top. Cooking isn't an exact thing. I love all the different ways to do things. Exactly. It says it on the blog. To brush the butter while it's baking. Are you the same one that said this? Are you the same one that said this? DM me. DM me what you're talking about because I've never heard of that, and I don't even see it in the recipe. So maybe somebody wrote it completely wrong on the blog. DM me, would you, Jamie Cook, would you DM me? Because obviously somebody wrote it wrong, so I'm very sorry. We've got to fix that. We've got to fix that ASAP. Because no, you're brushing the butter after. I think it says that when you search it on the website. Really? Somebody needs to send this to me. Somebody needs to send this to me. Because let's just read it out loud one more time. Okay, so cut the dough in half and shape into the baguettes. Grease a baguette pan and place the loaves in the pan. Score the loaves down the middle, make a shallow cut, see the picture. Put a dish towel, let it rise. Preheat the oven and place a shallow pan of water in the bottom of the oven to create steam. See the beginning of the chapter. Bake the baguettes for 15 minutes until they have a hollow sound when you tap with a knife. If you desire, brush the tops of loaves with butter halfway through the baking. Oh, if you desire. Okay, that's not going to make a softer crust. For a softer crust, you brush it after the baking. So, okay, I am sorry. I apologize. You guys, I literally have this memorized because I've been making these since I was 12. So you are right. It says brush the tops of butter halfway through if you desire. I don't even know the last time I've seen my mom do that. I don't even know the last time I've seen her do that. I will ask her again. So I'm sorry. But for a softer, you do it after. For a softer, you can just brush it after. That's funny. I have not read that in I don't know even how many years. I don't think she does that most of the time. But I'm sure yes, if it's in the recipe, then it works. So I'm sorry. I apologize, but I have not read that in forever. I just know that if I want a softer crust after, I brush it after it's baked. So I'm sorry. This is making me look a little funny right now. I'm very sorry. I apologize. Good to know I'm not losing my mind. Well, I guess I am losing my mind. So I'm really sorry. I apologize. I just don't even know the last time I have ever done that, or I don't even know the last time my mom has ever brushed it. So I was thinking, what? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm very sorry. She'll be embarrassed and I'm embarrassed. I'm very sorry. But I just know for a softer crust, you brush at the end, okay? Do you have to use the baguette pan? No, you do not. You can do it on a cookie sheet. It's just you get the true shape when you do a baguette pan, okay? So our baguettes have been rising as we're talking. So if we put an imprint, which we did, and look, the imprint stayed. So this is ready to go in the oven. So I'll show you. So they have not flattened. Look, they have not flattened at all. So the imprint stayed, and now we're just gonna put it in the oven on the lowest rack, and I'll show you how crispy it comes out without putting water, without putting any of that. I'm sorry. I look like I know. I do it by memory. I do it by absolute memory. I've been doing it for, like I said, since I was 12. And I've never heard, whatever. We'll move on. Are there any other questions? Are there any other questions? Anybody that had a question about the artisan bread, if you were wanting to make the artisan bread this weekend? Yeah, you guys are nice. Well, sorry, my mom's going to be super embarrassed, but I don't even know the last time I've ever done that or seen her do that. So that's funny. Okay, so anything else? Oh, thanks, Ashley. You're so good to me. You're so nice to me. Have you learned? Because I feel like sometimes I just repeat myself, and I'm really hoping that you're going to learn. Look at my sandwich again. You've learned so much. Promise? It's delicious. If you don't have this, run. Run to your Whole Foods. Run. Okay, so I'm going to stop. We'll stop. I did want to say that I am making the orange rolls for Mother's Day this weekend, and they are so delicious. Oh, are they not the best? They're the best. Okay, when is the new food plan coming out? It's already posted, so go to the our website, thefoodnanny.com, and I will do a link to it. So the next 2 weeks is planned for you. Also, our stuff is slowly getting added. I'm sick of saying it and telling you promises that aren't happening, but they are slowly being added. So I think by this weekend, I think some have been posted. Also, let me look at this really fast. We have a giveaway winner that posted that tagged the most. So I'm gonna do it in a stories after this. But hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day. As everybody is saying, what did I get asked? I never would have made baguettes ever if it weren't for you and your recipes. That is so nice. I know. They're easy. Our recipes are easy. You can do it. I took notes in the book. Oh, I'm so glad. Can you save this story to refer back to? About the baguettes? Which story? What is that she held up? This is my balsamic that is so incredible. It's the Napa Valley. I'll show you. I'll do a link to it for you. It's unbelievable. Okay, well, happy Mother's Day. I hope you learned something. Sorry about the mix-up about the baguette, butter, and all of that funny stuff. But sure, I will try to do a little bit of a story after this. And these lives get saved, and then they'll be added to our website later on. And then what else was I going to say? I don't know. Oh, I will post the giveaway winner, and I will post when exactly our aprons and our salt are ready to buy. And then our 2-week meal plan, I will post that. So much to do. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope everybody's having pizza tonight. So happy baking. Keep cooking. Your family is worth it. I love all of you. Thank you. Sorry for the mix-up. And I will do the German brown bread next because so many of you asked to do it. So we will work on the brown bread next time, okay? Okay, thanks guys.